Time for our KSAT Q&A, where we separate the facts from the fear that are out there. And right now we're going to talk about COVID-19. Dr. Rohr-Allegrini joins us again, an epidemiologist who's currently working for the San Antonio AIDS Foundation. We want to thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
Right off the top, what do you see in the trends that we've seen? You know, both the county judge and the mayor cautiously optimistic.
Right. So I was just watching the briefing, and we have only 176 cases today, which sounds great when we were seeing over 1,000 just a week or two ago. But I want to caution that while we are seeing a decline, remember it wasn't too long ago when 100 cases was enormous. So even though the numbers are decreasing, and that's great news, we're still much higher than we were in May. So we need to be careful that we don't celebrate too much just yet.
Let's talk about back to school. That's a huge topic right now, weighing on so many families across our area. We actually spoke with a teacher who was rallying for schools to stay closed, and she was concerned about mask wearing, saying that she felt like, according to the CDC, that even with a mask, that would still be very close contact for her and students, because kids aren't going to be moving around schools like they have been in the past. They won't be, leaving classrooms as freely as they have, so they might be spending more time together with their fellow students and teachers. What do you think about mask wearing in a prolonged setting like a classroom? Is that enough? And what are your thoughts just generally on the precautions being taken?
Well, so something to keep in mind is the masks are meant to be a second barrier. The first barrier is the physical distance. So as much as possible, you want to keep a 6-foot distance between people. And I know in some schools, they think, oh, well, we have a mask, they can be just a couple of feet apart. And that's not okay. You need to keep that 6-foot distance. The mask is an extra level. Now, if you're a 6-foot distance apart, you could probably take off your mask for a little while to get some breathing space, and just the mask is uncomfortable. It is for all of us. We don't like to wear it. And I mean, none of us want to have it on for 5 hours a day. We're going to take it off periodically. So we have to make accommodations for that in a school setting. But yeah, you're going to have kids in an enclosed space with a teacher in an enclosed space, confined to that area without a lot of airflow. Minimum of 6 feet distance apart. But, even that, we talk about that for short periods of time. If you are together for a longer period of time, that definitely puts you at higher risk. So, definitely mask wearing is going to be an important part of controlling the spread of COVID, but masks alone are not enough.
Let's talk about the school districts that we know are waiting until at least after Labor Day. That's a lot of all the public schools, certainly in Bexar County. Are you happy with what you've seen that the public schools are doing? And is there one private school or three private schools who are doing what they should be doing as far as opening school?
Well, I think there's two districts. I believe it's Edgewood and South Bend that have said they're not going to open until October 1st. And honestly, for me, I think that's ideal, because there's so much uncertainty that we can feel more confident by October 1st. Things will probably be better, not 100%, but probably be better. By Labor Day, it's really pushing it. It's so soon that I worry that we're going to be planning on a Labor Day opening and then not be able to do it because our cases haven't dropped. But I also realize that that's difficult for the district to do given the state guidelines. So I think all the districts are working to develop plans. I would like them to work with infection control experts so that they can have some insight into what those environments really look like. Some schools are doing great. And I mean, I honestly know about them because of the schools I work with. So Bonham Academy, for example, has a principal that's been working on the layout of the school since May, really looking at the design and how they can get the kids in and what's going to be safe. We did a walkthrough to determine, where you would have checkpoints for temperature if you needed that, or just the flow so we could understand where the bottlenecks would be, potential risky areas. Other public schools may be doing that as well. I happen to know Bonham because it's my neighborhood school. I'll also say some private schools have been working very hard for a very long time. The other one I've been working with is St. Mary's Hall since May. And back in May, we thought we were going to be able to open. And so we spent a lot of time with how to plan based on opening. Of course, this is a a very large campus with a lot of flexibility. They have a lot more resources. It's very different from a place like Bonham, for example. So they could make plans to bring back most of their students and still be able to maintain 6-foot distance. We walked through all the possibilities about how to walk through the campus, how they would cohort kids. They were really on top of it. One of the things that I appreciated, though, was a few weeks ago, before the order from the city to wait until Labor Day, the head of school asked, are we being responsible citizens by opening when we have such a high caseload? Should we just wait a few more weeks to see how things go? What I appreciated was there was such an acknowledgement of the community responsibility that they felt as a school, that even if they could create a safe environment, all of their students live in the community. And so they wanted to make sure that they weren't creating a congregate setting that could lead to more infection in the community. And I'm highlighting those schools because I know them. I know there's a lot of other private schools that have been working very hard. I've seen some of the Catholic schools have had plans since May as well. And really all of them doing it with the resources that they have. And, resources are limited across the board.
A lot more to talk about on this very topic. You'll be joining us again tonight at 10:30 to continue the conversation. Cerise rohr-allegrini, local epidemiologist, thanks as always for your insight.
We'll see you at 10.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll be right back.